Bet you didn't know there's a place where Kentucky football and basketball fans unite. Welcome to Big Blue Breakdown. Whether you bleed blue or just love a good game, we've got the latest stories, hottest takes, and a whole lot of hometown pride. Hit play and join the conversation. This is your home for all things Kentucky sports.
Alrighty, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the Big Blue Breakdown. This is episode 45 here on the podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this one. This is the first official Saturday of college football. We have officially begun college football. And you can see on the right side here, I am already 0-1, and we will talk about that later in this episode. But on today's slate, we obviously have our sponsor with Dubby, and then this is the big episode. I will be going through Kentucky's full schedule and breaking it down and giving you my game-by-game predictions for the 2025 year and what I think the Cats will end up going this year. And then I'll talk about the already 0-1. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to this one. If you're on YouTube watching this, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment if you have any questions, any comments, anything that you'd like to say. Please do that. If you have anything to disagree with me about in this schedule, which I think people are, let me just go ahead and say that. Or if you agree, comment that as well. Do the same thing on Spotify. Make sure to follow us there as well. Go ahead and hit the notification button as well, because you can get this video. It's going to be premiered. We always premiere our videos. You can get that as soon as we post it, and you'll catch it basically airing live at that time. Same thing with our lives as well. So if you're not following us on TikTok, X, Instagram, you're missing out, because we post clips on there. We ask questions, and we interact more on social media, and we post clips on there. If you like to go on there, and we just specific parts of our show get clips from, and then I post different things, like some other, like I'm doing all the SEC teams predictions and schedule predictions. I'm going to be fishing those out next week. So yes, go follow us there. You'll be missing out if you don't, missing out on some extra content for sure. But let's go ahead and give a quick word to our sponsor over at W. Make sure to use code BIGBLUE10 to get 10% off your order every time you use it. And we will be right back here on the Big Blue Breakdown. I clicked the wrong thing. I clicked the outro button. There you go. Hello, everybody. We wanted to take a break in this episode to tell you about our friends over at W Energy. W is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like any other energy drink. Some facts about W. Number one, it's zero sugar, artificial colors, or dyes, or hidden ingredients. It is also gluten-free. Number two, all flavors are unique and custom made by W. You'll never taste anything like a W drink. Number three, the drinks are $1 less, guys. That is cheaper than Starbucks or any canned drink. Lastly, it is made in the U.S. It is close to home. Guys, if you guys are looking forward to going to a Kentucky football game or Kentucky basketball game and you need some energy, get W. W is the perfect thing for you working out and you need some energy. You need W. You need W throughout the day. It is for you. Use promo code BIGBLUE10 to get 10% off every single order. Guys, it not only just helps you guys be able to have a clean energy drink that you can use all the time with the tubs that they give you. It helps me and it helps the channel keep growing. And with you guys, if you guys do that, it helps us post more content and helps them, guys. So it's a win-win-win for everybody. But thank you guys so much for your time here. Please go check out Dubby. Check out their website. And when you are about to purchase something, use promo code BIGBLUE10 to get 10% off your order. Alrighty, welcome back in to episode 45, guys, on the Big Blue Breakdown. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in here. Make sure to subscribe. We are trying right now to hit a goal of 500, as you see on the screen, the graphic here. If you turn on the notifications, that would really, really help us a lot. And we're really, really working towards trying to get to 500 here. And we have done absolutely amazing. Thank you guys so much for subscribing over the last couple of weeks and the last month. We have done really, really well at gaining subscribers. I want to thank you guys so much for that. But on today's episode, let's go ahead and jump into Kentucky's schedule. This is not my predictions right here. I want to kind of go over some things first. Okay, I want to go over the games kind of like I've already went over like the most important stretches and everything like that, but I kind of want to go into this schedule and just give you some of the information that I personally think, and then I will show you my predictions, and then I will dive into each one and tell you why I have that prediction and what type of season I think it's going to be for the Cats in 2025. So you obviously start the year with Toledo. Not an easy game. Ole Miss, not an easy game. Eastern Michigan, pretty easy game. Tennessee Tech, pretty easy game. So I want to just point a couple things out here, just a couple. South Carolina, the South Carolina game until the Texas game is going to be the toughest slate of games we're going to have through the middle of the season. We got three really tough games right there. I mean, three really, really, really tough games right there that I kind of like spoiling here. I really don't see us having a shot in winning those games. Maybe South Carolina. Maybe Texas at home. Texas is the best team in the country, and we end up getting them at home, and then we get a top 5 team in the country, Georgia on the road, and they haven't lost there in Lord knows how long. But then you have South Carolina on the road. It's going to be really, really tough game. Even though I think South Carolina takes a step back this year, I do believe that is going to be a very, very tough game for the Cats this year. So this is kind of how I want to preference this. The first 3 games of the year are all winnable. And then the last, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the last 5 games of the year are winnable. The first 3 games of the year are winnable. In the last, did I get that right? 2, 4, 6. No, 6 games of the year are winnable. So you got the first 3 games of the year are Toledo, Ole Miss, Eastern Michigan. First 3 games of the year, very, very winnable. And then the last 6, I believe, in Tennessee, Auburn, Florida, Tennessee Tech, Vanderbilt, Louisville. That is what I think is first 3 games are very, very are winnable. The last 6 games are very winnable. And the ones kind of in the middle with South Carolina to the Texas game are going to be very, very hard. And that is kind of how I have laid out this schedule in my mind. I think there's a shot that like Kentucky picks off maybe a Tennessee, Auburn, Florida type of scenario right there. We kind of pick them off at the right time. I think those are winnable games. And I think Tennessee takes that major step back. We get them at home. I know we've been historically terrible against Tennessee, but that is a team that I think we can beat this year in 2025 at home. And then you look at Auburn. Okay, I'm big on Auburn. Okay, and I think that's a tough game on the road, especially if it's played at night. But if things do not work out with Jackson Arnold, how does this team look? Right? It's kind of be a mystery. Even though I'm high on them and I think he will be good, if he's not, that's a winnable game for the Cats. Florida, if DJ Lagway isn't healthy throughout the year, and I don't think they're going to have a tremendous record in 2025. So I see that being a winnable game. And we've been very, very good against Florida in the past couple of years at home. You go back to 2021, you get 2023. 2021, we beat them. 2023, we beat them. 2022, we beat them. And then last year, we obviously lose to them on the road, but we beat them 3 years in a row. So I'm looking at history on the Tennessee game, so I think I can look at history on the Florida game. We've beat them 2 years in a row at home. I think there's a shot for a third year in a row at home against the Florida Gators. I kind of want to say the guarantees, but the guarantees are Tennessee Tech, Eastern Michigan, at least in my opinion. And I think a favorable matchup for us in the SEC is the Vandy and then the Ole Miss game. I think Louisville is a winnable game. And the reason I say it's a winnable game, we've been very, very good on the road against them. I don't know when the last time we lost to them on the road was, but it was years ago. We obviously beat them in 2023 there. We beat them in 2021 there. We beat them in 2018 there. We also beat them in 2019. We didn't play them in 2020. So there's a stretch there. I don't know how long it goes. We beat them in 2016 there as well. So it might have been 2014 was the last time we lost to them at Louisville. That may be completely wrong, but I think that's a possible shot right there. Is the last time that we lost to Louisville on the road. So we've been very, very good against Louisville, and they have an easier schedule throughout the year than we do. You got to think, like, we're going to be coming from you got to think we're going to be coming from playing Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, Ole Miss, South Carolina, and they don't play the toughest schedule in the world. So I think that game going into that one will be very, very winnable. And I think they downgrade actually at quarterback. I think Miller Moss is solid. I don't think he's Tyler Shuck. I think their team last year was very, very good. It's just they slipped up in a couple of games that they really should have won, like the Miami game. They probably should have won. Was it Pitt that they lost to last year? Like, that team could have easily been 10-2, right? They obviously killed us at home. So I just see some of these guys, like the Ashton Gelati guy that they lose, is a very big loss. And I don't see a world where they are a playoff team. And that's just my opinion. Maybe they are with their schedule. I just think it kind of repeats from the last couple of years. You know, they maybe they're like 7-4 going into our game, or they're what would it be? They're not. Would it be 9-1? 9-2 going into that game. So that's what I'm trying to get here. Their schedule is so manageable coming to this game that I think we are obviously going to be playing better, bigger and better competition, but I don't think the talent gap is as big as people think, and I think we've upgraded from last year, and I think they've downgraded from last year. And historically, in the last, I don't know if it's decade, I think it is, in the last decade, we have been tremendous on the road against this team. So, and at the very end, we have an easier stretch at the end, so we'll be healthier at the end of the year, coming off games against like Tennessee Tech, Vandy. So that is a humongous reason why I think that is a winnable game against Louisville. Okay, and like anything can happen in a rival game. That is a 50-50 shot type of game, guys. Like, I don't care if they're 0-11 going into that game and we're 11-0. That is a 50-50 shot game because it is a rival game and anything can happen. And when we've been on the road and anything can happen, we have won. So that's kind of why my mindset is that's a very winnable game. I think they have downgraded from last year. I think we've upgraded from last year, and historically we've been good on the road, and we have had better competition faced during the year, and we're coming off a little bit easier of a stretch going into that Louisville game. Okay, I know there's a lot of explanation for that Louisville game. So that is like kind of what I'm thinking here is the first 3 games are very, very winnable, and the last 6 games are very, very winnable. The 3 in the middle are going to be very, very tough to win. I don't really see those being – I can see it being close. I just don't see it being very winnable in 2025. Let's go ahead and jump into my 2025 schedule predictions for the Kentucky Wildcats. But before we do that, I want to say I did this unbiased as I could. Like, I know I've dived very, very deep into this Kentucky roster in 2025. And I think that we're better at a couple positions than people think. That's because I've literally went into all the stats, all the guys, the 4-string, whatever. So I have made this, to me, as unbiased as I possibly can. And I think it is unbiased. And I think with the record I have is very, very obtainable. And I don't think people can really, really say like, oh, wow, that was really, really, I want to say unfair to their team, whoever that is, like if I have a win against them, or that was very, very biased. I don't think people can say that because I don't have us having a tremendous year. Let me just go and preface that. I don't have us making a college football playoff. This year, to me, before I jump into that, it is a get back on the right tracks type of year. And I don't want to say it's a rebuild year, but it's kind of like that. I don't want to say you're looking forward to 2026, but what I'm saying here is you have a solid season this year. You exceed expectations, and Mark Stoops kind of rallies back the fans, and then you go out and you have a good portal class going into 2026, and you bring back a buttload of guys going into 2026, and you kind of relay that foundation of being a very, very disciplined team, being a Mark Stoops team that like just won't quit ever, and being a team that's really, really good up front, just laying the ground of how successful Mark Stoops has been, and then creating some excitement going into next year because you have that surface now. Like, you have that foundation. It's just now, like, can you build on it? So I think this year we're trying to lay back down the foundation of Mark Stoops type of football and Kentucky football. So that is kind of like what I think this year is going to be. And so let's go ahead and jump into my my predictions. I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash, guys. I know. I know you guys aren't going to love some of my predictions. These are my predictions, what I personally think is going to happen, and unbiased as I possibly can in this. Okay. As you see here, I have my Kentucky Wildcats going 6-6 in 2025. The over-under for the year is 4.5 wins. Okay, and a lot of people are taking the 4, which I can understand, guys. Like, the range of wins to me here is floor 3-9, right? Floor 3-9, and ceiling 7-5, 8-4. So I think if the ceiling is, if we were to be Toledo, like I'm gonna get into all these games, guys. Like, I promise. Like, I'm going to dive into each one and tell you why I think we win or lose that game and kind of how it's gonna go. But this is kind of how I see it. So let's start with the floor, right? I think we beat Toledo, even though they're a very, very, very good team. MAC team, projected to win the MAC this year. But I just think we beat them. Just really, no matter how bad we could be. Okay, Ole Miss could easily be a loss. Eastern Michigan be a win right there. So that's 2-1, and we would only pick up one more win for the rest of the season. And that would be against Tennessee Tech, because all those other games are very, very losable. Ceiling for the Cats in 2025, you beat Toledo, you beat Ole Miss, you beat Eastern Michigan, you lose to South Carolina, Georgia, Texas. Now you're 3-3. You beat Tennessee at home. You beat Auburn on the road. That would be 5-3. You beat Tennessee Tech. That's 6-3, and then you beat Vandy and Louisville. okay, or you beat Florida and you lose to Tennessee, or you see those 3 games right there. Anyone, like the South Carolina, Georgia, Texas losses, you can kind of intertwine to get 8-4 between the last 6 right there. Okay, except for Tennessee Tech, that's a W. So let me go ahead and dive into each and every one of these games and tell you why I have the Cats going 6-6 in 2025. And at the very end, I'll tell you if this is a successful season for Mark Stoops and company with preseason expectations and all that has been talked about. And I'll tell you why I have us going 6-6. So let's go ahead and dive into that. So Toledo, I have us winning week 1 against Toledo. Guys, this is not a pushover game. I could see us losing this game, but I just do not think that it happens. I think we are too talented. I think we are too good at stopping. We're going to be too good at slowing down the pass game, which is what they're going to rely heavily on. And they do not have a tremendous run game. So if you can make them one-dimensional in something that they are not comfortable in, I really, really like that for the Cats in this game. We get the game at home. I think we came out strong, even though this will be a tough game. I just think we got too much star power, and I think we make their offense one-dimensional, and they're really, really bad at stopping the run. We're going to rely heavy on the run in 2025, so I see that. I see this game really in a favor for the Cats when you break it down into strengths and weaknesses for each team. Now, I do have Kentucky's first upset of the year against Ole Miss. Now, I know people are not going to like this. The Cats beat the Ole Miss Rebels last year when they had a possible playoff team, and they went all in, all this money. It was their first loss of the year. The Cats came in there, and they shocked the world, beating number 6 Ole Miss on the road with a absolutely terrible Kentucky team. It ended up going 4-8, right? But you beat a very, very good Ole Miss team last year on the road, and I think you're able to do that this year against Ole Miss, Ole Miss's current squad. Now, the reason I have us winning this game, a big part is you lose Jackson Dart, right? You lose your starting quarterback. Now, I know Austin Simmons had a very, very nice drive against Georgia, but it's going to be his first SEC road game start ever. Just ever. It's going to be his first ever SEC start in general. I think you lose a crap ton of pieces on the outside in Juice Wells, in gosh, I'm trying to think of all these names. Like they had so many weapons on the outside. Trey Harris. And then you had really, really solid backs. The offensive line was okay. The defense was nasty last year. The defensive ends were nasty last year. And you lose, like Walter Nolan, you lose those pieces. You lose Princely Amami Allen. Like, you lose all those pieces, and you don't really have a portal class like you've had in past years. So I truly believe they downgrade in a lot of positions. Now, they return Caden Lee, and they have Lane Kiffin as their head coach, which their offense is always going to be solid. I just think they take a big step back from last year. I think it's going to be a tough game for Austin Simmons. I think Kroger Field shows up against the redshirt freshman Austin Simmons at home, and I think we are improved from last year. And I think we're able to get pressure on Austin Simmons, and I think we're going to be able to run the ball, establish a run, and take our shots downfield. That is why I have us winning this game against the Ole Miss Rebels. Eastern Michigan, I think the second worst team on the schedule. Not much really to go in here. I'm pretty sure they're one of the worst teams in FBS. Get the game at home. I like it. You start the year off 3-0, guys. You start the year off 3-0. I do think the next, what would that be? 6 games are going to be rough. And so you lose to South Carolina on the road. Even though I do think South Carolina takes that step back, that's a very, very tough game for the Cats on the road next year. Or this year, excuse me. Like, that is a absolutely tremendous crowd. It's probably going to be at night. And it's going to be a lot of pressure on the Cats to do. We're probably going to be, like, talked about because, like, we beat Ole Miss. Like, okay, like, this team's probably pretty solid. And I think Lenore Sellers is a problem with his legs. We've seen it last year against the Cats, so I have them beating us. I think they're more talented, so I have the South Carolina Gamecocks beating the Cats for their very first loss of 2025. I think they lose on the road against Georgia, even though we have played them absolutely extremely tough every single year, year in, year out. This game's on the road, and they haven't lost on the road since it was against South Carolina, like 6 years ago, maybe more, maybe just a little bit less. Like, I don't see them losing this game, and I have them as the second best or the third best team in the SEC this year. Their defense is going to be absolutely nasty. They have the better wide receiver options this year than ever at the wide receiver position. They got Oscar Delp, they got London Humphreys, and I think Gunnar Stockton's just going to be solid, and they're going to be playing under the lights, or they're going to be playing at home. I just don't see a win right there. And you get the best team in the country, Texas at home, even though I think this game could be a little bit of trouble for Texas. I do think you kind of keep this game close, but I think they just have too much firepower. Let's be honest. They got Colin Simmons. They obviously got Arch Manning. They got too much just power on both sides of the ball in this one for Kentucky to win. Moving on to Tennessee. I do have us losing this game as much as I hate to pick against Kentucky, against Tennessee. They've had our number for I don't know how long. Even though I think this is the year that Kentucky would beat Tennessee, I can't project that. I can't predict that. If we had beat them last year, or no, if we had beat them 2023 when we had them at home, I would predict this right now for a win. But I'm going with history, and I can't let myself down. So I have Tennessee beating us simply because we just can't seem to get over the hump and beat a Tennessee team. With us being bad, good, whatever. Auburn, I think they're going to be good. I think Jackson Arnold hits, and that game on the road is tough. If he doesn't hit, that is an interesting game on the road, and kind of see where Hugh Freeze is at, if he's still there at that point, if Jackson Arnold does not hit for the Auburn Tigers. I do have us losing to Florida at home as well. Very, very tricky game with a DJ Lagway that is absolutely insane, and if he can stay healthy, I think he can be very, very good for the Florida Gators. It's just going to be how do they manage the losses that they had from last year's defense? Like, what does that end up looking like? And is DJ healthy? I do think they kind of have not a down year. They don't meet the expectations that people are thinking, and like playoff wise. I think I personally have them going 8-4. This is a game that is winnable. Like, I don't think, like, I'm being completely honest here, I don't think the South Carolina game is winnable. I mean, that's like an 80-20. The Georgia game, 90-10. The Texas game at home, 80-20. Maybe like 85-15 right there. And then you get to the Tennessee game. To me, that's like a 55-45 right there, leaning Tennessee just because history. Auburn on the road, if Jackson Arnold hits, that to me is like I would go 70-30. And then Florida at home, if all things do go right, I still see them going 8-4. It's just because how tough their schedule is. So I would preference this one at about 60-40 for the Gators. And then I was beating Tennessee Tech. Then we get Vandy at home. I think Vanderbilt takes a step back. I don't love the surrounding weapons around Diego Pavia except for Eli Stowers. I don't see them repeating the same success as they had last year. They're not that talented. They do return a crap ton of production. Still not that talented. And we get them on the road where we've been very, very good on the road at Vanderbilt. I think to this point their season would be off the rails. And I just don't see them kind of collectively as a unit and doing nearly as good as they did last year. And I do have us beating Louisville just because we have been so good on the road against the Cards. They downgrade from last year. We upgrade. I think that's simple right there. And I think we're going to have an easier stretch going into that game. But still, we'll end up having play way more tougher competition. So I have the Cats going 6-6 in 2025. And I want to say Tennessee is winnable, Auburn is winnable, Florida is winnable. This is my 2025 schedule predictions for the Cats. And if you guys have anything to say, do you think I'm wrong on anything? Do you think I'm right on anything? Please leave that down in the comments. Would love to hear them. But that is my official predictions for the Cats, 6-6. And I do think that is a good year for the Cats. I do. I think we win our first 3 games, and I think we win our last 3 games. The reason I think this is going to be a successful season, look at the over-under, 4.5. And you make it back to a bowl game in 2025. Stoops retains his job. Now you kind of got the fans back into it. You get more support. Maybe you get a little bit more money. You retain players. And I think a big reason why we win these games, top 10 portal class in the country and a top portal class in the SEC. Really, really good running back group. A good overall group at wide receiver, by committee, and a very, very experienced quarterback. An upgraded offensive line. A really, really good pass rush D-line, looking to see if they can be good stopping the run. Same thing with linebackers, and tremendous secondary. Now, it doesn't maybe add up to a lot of these teams. That's why I have us going 6-6. But if you're able to get back to a bowl game, grab all these fans in, get more money, retain a lot of these players with a successful season with a really, really tough schedule, maybe beat a team in a bowl game using Cutter Boley. Get all these fans in excited for what Cutter Boley can be, and he is the absolute future. He is absolutely phenomenal. Matt Ponatoski coming in next year. Guys, if you end up making a bowl game like 6-6, like I said, hype is going to be real next year, especially if you end up having another really, really good portal class. You retain a lot more guys than you did from last year, and now you got the fans on your side. Maybe you get a little more money. That maybe helps you get a little bit more better players, and you somehow get a favorable schedule with this new 9 SEC game slate. Maybe you get a favorable three annual, and then you get about three out of the 6 rotating games that are going to be winnable. And then you can kind of see how Louisville does this year to kind of preference where they are and stuff. So that's kind of what I have here. That's my thoughts on it. Your boy is 0-1. Man, was that a sloppy game in Dublin, Ireland. I did not expect to, it was rainy. I think the field conditions is a big part of why it was sloppy. There was 4 fumbles in the first 5 minutes of the game. So Iowa State comes up on top in a very, very good game, especially in the second half. They kind of pulled it together in that way and actually looked like some real football out there. So that was really, really good to see. But your boy is 0-1 now in my predictions. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode number 45 here. Make sure to go follow us on TikTok, X, Instagram. Subscribe here on YouTube. Like, comment, turn on the notifications. Same thing on Spotify. Help us get to 500 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this one. And as always, go Cats. I did it again. I've done it again. As always, go Cats.